Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships. As a little late in getting a video out today, been enjoying the day with Mrs. Flimsy. And I just logged in and saw the launch of the US Navy 250th anniversary event that's happening in-game, but also here in the Armory have a special opportunity to pick up the Tier 9 American battleship, the Indiana. And so if you're a newer player to the game, or maybe you're debating, is it worth me going after this? There's some filter questions we can run through, if you will. So basically here in the Armory, the overview of this event is in celebrating the 250th anniversary, they have introduced the special opportunity to pick up the Indiana. It's an American South Dakota class battleship, and she's got 9 406s, built-in propulsion, the first American battleship that has hydroacoustic search in the game. Carbon Carlito, if I said his name correctly. He has a nice video providing an overview. I'm sure other now WoW's content creators and possibly some community contributors have an overview on the Indiana to kind of help you discern on their end if the ship is worth going after or not. And my view is the more kind of approach and talk about the Armory in terms of what they're offering here. So they're offering several things. One is this chain where you buy many containers to eventually get to the end, where you will then in turn pick up Indiana for 1 credit after you have spent 50,125 doubloons plus 1 credit in picking up the Indiana. So essentially, as you go through each of these bundles, here you have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then 2 and 1. So you get a lot of containers here. I think I'll just try to put the math on the screen here. So you have a chance with these Navy 250 premium containers to pull Indiana at a 2% chance, right? So it's kind of playing the lottery, whether or not that will happen for you. It has a guaranteed drop in 51. So even if you won't automatically guarantee hit the Indiana in going through these containers, right? Because there's less than 51 containers here. But your chances maybe get somewhat close, that you could just kind of roll the dice, pull the lever on the slot machine, and maybe, after X amount of bundles in, you manage to pull Indiana at her 2% drop rate. As they have 3 different categories in total for these Navy 250 premium containers. Here you have each Navy 250 container includes 3 items. One is you will pull some blue economic boosters or credits or free XP or elite commander XP. In the second grouping, you'll either get the 2% chance of pulling the Indiana, 6% chance of 18,750 free XP, a 6% chance of pulling 7 days of premium count, and 6% chance of pulling 7,500 coal, and an 80% chance of pulling the blue, gold, and white permanent camouflage. And then the third grouping, again, it is blue economic boosters, credits, free XP, and elite commander XP. If you already have all the items from the Tier 9 ship group and the Navy 250 premium container drops an item from this group, you will receive the 18,750 free XP. You're guaranteed to find an item from the Tier 9 ship group in the 51st container, not the 51th container, if this does not occur after you open the previous 50 containers. You can find more details about the compensation rules, possibility balance changes being applied, and container mechanics here, right? So that's one way to go about it. Other way to go about picking up the Indiana is just buying it outright. On my screen, you're seeing it for over 2,000 kroner. With the exchange rate, it's basically $200 roughly that you'd have to spend if you want to buy Indiana outright. Granted, it's not just the ship. It's, the port slot, commander's 10 skill points, and all of these rewards. So you can see 50 each of the blue economic boosters, only 3 of each of the red boosters, a lot of combat signals, the permanent camouflage for Indiana, the USS Indiana commemorative flag, and combat mission for all types. And then here they kind of boast in talking more about the ship and what she has to offer. So you can see that hydroacoustic search right there, if you will. Backing out, we also have just buying one individual premium container, right? So I mean, technically, if you want to just buy one, you should start out here first since it's 80% off. Or you could buy one for 25,000 coal. So you'll be pretty much get a good chance of just picking up some of the economic boosters and some coal or free XP or a permanent camouflage and picking one up. So for 25,000 coal, if you have a plenty of coal laying around, it's not a bad deal. I've actually been saving up my coal for defense. So I'm not really sure if I want to drop to 25,000 coal, but hey, if you have a lot of coal, you might get lucky, 2% chance, but you know, you have a 98% chance of not getting lucky, if you will, looking at that. So do I have any thoughts, recommendations in terms of, you know, going for this event or not? I'm sure the Indiana will be available for sale at a later date through some type of event that Wargaming would likely do, not until 2026. I'd be hard-pressed to think Wargaming making Indiana available after this event ends for the remainder of 2025. So if you can't wait, then yeah, you're going to be looking at either spending $200, or if you go for all of this 50,125 doubloons, you're going to be spending, I think it's about $250. I'm trying to remember how you can buy 50,000 doubloons outright, and it just shows up. No, maybe it's $225. I'm just spacing because it's doing the kroner exchange for me since I live in Norway, rather than just offering it in US dollars. But you know, you kind of have to ask yourself, would I want to buy the ship outright, or do I want to go through all the bundles? You know you're guaranteed to get 50 of the blue economic boosters of each for the category, among other things, right? So it really ends up becoming up to you which way you want to go for that. So if you're a ship collector, you know, you probably want to pick up in Indiana here. You know, I'm an American. I love American battleships. I've wanted Indiana for a long time and hope they bring her in the game, which they have. But honestly, for me, it's not worth me spending $200 to pick up Indiana. There's other things that I would rather invest in versus, as an example, if I go hardlining, digital pixels on the screen, right? But it's about the enjoyment still of the game. I know some work a lot. It's a de-stressor for you, right? Go for it. But, you know, if you're a newer player to the game, I mean, you know, they have these exciting ships that end up showing up in the game. And then after a while, you know, it begins to fade, kind of the allure of it. You know, Valparaiso was definitely a battleship they brought in the game that's very much of a pay-to-win ship. That would be like, yeah, it's probably worth $200. Like, I've seen some competent players have 80% plus win rates in randoms with that ship because it's just stupidly overpowered. You know, Indiana's not that kind of pay-to-win ship. She brings a different dynamic in terms of being a Tier 9 South Dakota class battleship. As a whole, having the Hydro, you know, not being a massive battleship, not having as much survivability as compared to Iowa. I believe Iowa's over 70,000 hit points, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and I think Massachusetts is like 63,000 hit points, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like insane exciting things happening here as a whole on Indiana. I mean, the one fact is you just got a faster reload time of just 27 seconds with the ship for the lack of hit points, if you will. But it seems a really fun ship from what I saw Carbon Carlito playing it and having the rudder shift on the 4 slot with the built-in enhanced propulsion. So this looks like a kind of a standard type of battleship that you would play more mid-range in the game. And then supporting your team, like it's a battleship that plays off the team. With Valparaiso, you can just, you know, W in as an example. So as much as I'd love to just buy the ship, I myself am not going to be spending $200 to pick up the ship. You know, maybe some of you get insanely lucky and just going for this, and you pull Indiana. You know, you might get a few with the way in. I mean, that's the element of the gambling where you only get so many bundles in and you pick up Indiana without even getting to the end here as an example. So But that being said, it's going to bring the video to a close. I just thought I would just cover this really quick because, you know, it's an exciting event in my mind, but it's a very much a monetization staring you in the face as well. So with that being said, I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you subscribe, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Until next time, take care.